Ever think about why some people do what they do? Seem to dislike you right away even when there's no clear reason for it. It's just, if you are not nice or polite, there's always someone who wants to help you. Meets you with a cold or faraway look. Reason why some people harbor having bad feelings or anger toward us without a clear reason. This is a complicated puzzle that isn't always based in what we say or do. Often, the real reasons for such bad feelings are hidden deep inside. Maybe silent envy is a part of human behavior. Lack of confidence, hidden fears, or wrong ideas that get worse over time, figuring out why people may grow. Having bad feelings about us isn't just as a matter of interest. It's necessary for figuring out the complicated social relationships we deal with every day in this important video. We're going to talk about 9 shocking reasons why other people might have strong bad feelings, thoughts, and feelings about us. These findings could open your eyes and give different views on the connections between. Before we start, I'd like to make a very much thanks for the help you've given me. Makes me feel so a lot of fun making these vids, and it was even better to read your helpful and thoughtful. I read all of the comments. If you've been here before, please click like and on. Let YouTube know how it can help more. This is found by people like you content. Now let's start this path of change together. Are you get ready to be envious and greedy? Anger and envy, the most common and important reasons someone might start to feel hostile toward you, is greed or envy. These having negative feelings is like having a poison in ties with other people, transforming respect into dislike and turning respect into anger, jealousy, and people feel envious when they see things that someone about you that they wish they had but think they can't get. This feeling can be caused by many things, including success at work and in your personal life, achievements to different parts of your personality, or a way of life that many people envy, and jealousy shows what kind of person action for unhappiness with their own life. Instead of getting ideas from what you've done or how happy you are for your success, they look at you as a mirror of your traits and accomplishments, reflecting how they see things, problems, or bad things that this feeling can turn into. Having a lot of anger makes them want to make them feel better about your fall. Own anger and dissatisfaction the most. One bad thing about envy and jealousy is that it can make people turn to rumors, lies, or even plots to hurt, weaken your efforts and accomplishments. They might try to spread lies or hurt your reputation about who you are, all in the hopes of making you fall from the platform they have put you on in their own minds. It's important to understand that envy and problems with jealousy are those that belong to the person who wants them not to. Even though it's easy to blame yourself, others' anger, and start to question or feel bad about yourself, remember that you are not in charge of someone else's feeling not good enough or not being happy with what you've done. And good traits shouldn't be taken away just because someone else is having a hard time with what they were going through, as Marcus Aurelius. Don't worry about things, someone once said. Outside your keep other people from being jealous and envious are clearly out of your hands, and Stoicism stresses how important putting your attention on things you can change, own thoughts and deeds and answers that show they know that envy, and there is a lot of jealousy behind some people's being angry at you, can help you find your way through these tricky exchanges with more clarity. You know how to handle these. Dealing with negative feelings in a healthy way, letting them affect you, is a very important skill for keeping your peace and keeping your attention on your own and career growth. 2. Not clear conversation and misunderstandings, miscommunication, and not working. Talk about the truth is that even small misunderstandings can grow into big problems. To go deep and last, there is anger at the heart of these. There is often a gap in how we talk about ourselves or how others seem to us. When words are used in the wrong way, there's a space between who is speaking and what the goal is, and how someone heard one misspelled word, a tone that wasn't understood, or even a facial look can send the wrong message. Make a mark with these small messages. Over time, mistakes become more emotional hurdles that cause others to wrongly. People see you as rude, detached, or even when people are angry. Good communication is important in every relationship, and without there are disagreements and confusion quickly arise. Bad thoughts often come from not being able to express thoughts, and clearly showing feelings opens the door to wrong readings. Plus, the not listening actively also leads to what sets us apart as failing to genuinely. To understand someone else's point of view makes it easy to make wrong conclusions, or these mistakes lead to judgments go beyond just disagreeing and become a good place for the growth of feeling bad thoughts. For those who feel wronged, they start making the friendship what it is. Based on these messages, failures at first were small. Misunderstandings can make people angry, and suspicion twisting the friendship and lying about the truth of the matter. This is why taking into account the role of communicating poorly and not getting each other and making people feel bad is very important to keeping away from nothing. We need to work on our anger clear, honest, and open. Talking to everyone in. Having relationships with others is good for the question and put yourself in their shoes. Shoes to look for clarity when it's already there. By doing this, we can avoid doubt and grievances that aren't important and keep connections based on good health and fundamental beliefs and ideals that are not the same. There are 3 changes in important ideas and values. Our world is very different from one another. Each person is formed by a unique set of beliefs, and ideals are like different puzzle pieces. The picture of their lives when these ideals don't match up with around them, it can spark deep differing views, and even foster disagreements about ideals don't lead to anger have to do with religion or politics. Views that can come up every day, things like thoughts on things like work ethics, options about EIC's lifestyle, or even small details in everyday things that happen when someone holds their own ideals as the only ones that are right or better, means that someone with a different belief can quickly be seen as a threat, a possible enemy that poses a threat to their sense of who they are. This defensive way of thinking makes it hard to become a minor. Whether differences are grounds for dislike when someone's views are anywhere that tries to fight them can really feel like an attack these problems. So without much trouble, lead to identity problems and worldviews that were different, turn into more than just fights. Things that separate. We didn't try hard enough to understand others, along with hasty decisions. Builds walls that stop people from understanding each other. And getting to know these walls not only stop people from connecting but let anger grow. To grow slowly, especially when fed by Stoic fears and biases that aren't recognized philosophy. There is a lot of focus on the knowledge that what we believe and values come from who we are as people. Life experiences, and what Epicus once said about each of us, is a result of how we were raised. And surroundings, aware that people may are worth different amounts of money and views because of what they've been through, pushes us to be more tolerant, and take care of these differences, talk about them, be tolerant, and respect doesn't just keep people from getting angry, but also help us understand better and getting to know the world that knows not everyone shares from our point of view, and that this is being completely okay is a key step toward living together peacefully in a pluralistic society. 4. The power of rumors and what whispers and gossip can do. The most usual reason is gossip. Hatred comes from strong people. How third party and talk affect things. Rumors, these things that were said, lied about, or exaggerated, can seriously damage your name and make people look bad, making you look like a bad guy to other people before you can even defend yourself. You're like a bug that spreads quickly. Everywhere you look, news is there. Relationships that hurt trust and birthing suspicion is what scares me the most, is that once rumors start to spread, it changes into something else on its own, and changing the truth, which leads to a fake and bad picture of you that it's almost impossible to stop. Especially rumor usually goes after bad or sensitive parts of your life or attitude that wants to tear you apart down and do a lot of damage. No matter if the claims are true or not, they are still able to gain ground. Because people usually believe what they pay attention, especially when the rumors line up with the views they already have or theories as well as the sensational. And the fact that whispers are illegal makes making them even more interesting people to spread them quickly, as if they couldn't be denied. Truths about the effects of bad glee can be very bad, ranging from social to be alone, and lose something important to even more important relationships, changes in your personal life, and career hatred that is caused by reports is one of the most difficult kinds of hatred to fight because you're not facing the truth. Rather a skewed picture of you that's been changed by other people, whether you mean to or not. It's important to know the evil power that talk can handle. Even if it might be hard staying true to what you know, staying true to yourself and refusing to be upset by the bad things being said, spread are very important. Remember, you're being honest and real in everything. Actions are the most powerful cures in the face of the poison of lies, your truth and standing firm on it. Your morals are the best way to get rid of the lies and slowly bring them back. How other people see you, eyes, truth and honor win in the end. A strength that beats all lies and bad things that life can do to you. 5 insecurities and projection of self, having personal fears, and projection. This is a complicated truth that is often forgotten, but it has the important part in fueling when people are hostile to each other, don't face and get past their inner worry and fear. It's easy for these feelings to turn into envy, anger, and eventually hate toward others, especially those who seem to be free from the same fears or weaknesses that can lead to these fears from different places, like the past terrible events and feelings of failure or never-ending social comparing things. To the philosopher Seneca once said that when someone is scared, they unknowingly decide to turn down these feelings onto other people, especially onto those who appear to be the very things they don't have or are afraid of. Like if someone isn't sure about they can easily build a job in being angry at a coworker who is doing well and moving up in their field. This image is like a mental picture, a defense system that lets someone short-term deal with feelings of not being good enough by focusing their anger at someone else instead of facing their own fears. That this process can quickly turn into hate as that person sees you to always remind them of their own, seeing flaws and problems as problems. The other part of this dynamic is the feeling like your endanger accomplishments or good traits can serve as a mirror to show what other people lack, instead of being motivated by your. If they have success, they might see it as a threat to their sense of self-worth, leaving how they felt. Lessening this feeling of not being good enough can cause someone to be angry toward you, but it's important to understand that these feelings of insecurity and your anger isn't because of anything you've done. They're just words that say that understanding a person's inner struggles. This can help you stay away from other people's negativity personally and keep a good point of view in your exchanges and better understanding. This dynamic is an important first step in getting close to these feelings with kindness and care that can help get rid of needless misunderstandings and help build a more environment that is good and helpful. 6. Not having any understanding or care. Not having any compassion or understanding in every meeting in an ideal world would be because they care about and understand others, but the truth often tells a different story. The story is one of the main reasons why someone could start to feel a lack of these important things leads to anger. Traits when someone can't put themselves in someone else's shoes to know what they're going through. There is the start of an unseen wall leading to mistakes that can lead to go down into anger. And a lack of understanding aren't just being unable to understand how other people feel. There is an inability to see what drives and affects other people correct, leading to skewed responses that can make people angry where there is no real crime exists. Instead of knowing other people, they might get the wrong idea from words or acts as slights that slowly makes people feel bad without showing care. A lot of people fall into the traps of prejudice and hasty decisions happen a lot. View this as how the world looks in black and white. A rigid outlook leads to unfair and poor evaluations of other people that don't take the patience needed to understand setting on which they often base their decisions on ideas that aren't true or surface-level impressions, without putting in much work to learn more about the person or setting that makes it possible for anger based on lack of knowledge. And not getting this lack of respect is often connected to selfishness and narcissism. A lot of people are so busy with themselves that they have a hard time with understand or value the experiences and feelings of other people. This focus on oneself can lead to a lack of care that makes them don't pay attention to the problems or successes of other people with contempt or disinterest. This kind of attitude can easily be confused for anger or even hatred, as some others feel ignored or belittled. It's important to understand that, in many cases, the anger someone towards you is more of a mirror because of their own mental limits, instead of what you've done. Making sense of this can help you deal with these disagreements in a more fair point of view that aims to bridges of understanding when they can be built, or keeping the bad things from you. Effects on your emotions of others. Feeling that knowing this lets you stay with kindness at the center. These having conversations with grit and empathy. going up against each other. 7. An event or this kind of relationship is based on rivalry. Often full of never-ending competition and constantly comparing things makes a strong the cause of bad feelings when the fight gets tough. It can change when healthy limits are crossed, into a fixation and a burning anger meant to make the other person fail or be brought down. People often compete and rival each other. In every part of life, from the office to social circles and even within families, imbalance is good for you. Competition can push people to do their best. Psychological growth, but when competition, a passion brought on by fear, because of anger or jealousy, changes into a burning fire, where one's attention moves away from their own success to a desire to see other people fail at this change. From good competition to anger often happens when someone felt constantly pushed back or not valued by use something else instead of this as drive to improve and go beyond there. They get stuck on their own limits, putting down or insulting the other person. This feeling gets stronger when someone sees the accomplishments or acknowledgement of another person as not earned or something that should have been worse. Marcus Aurelius once said that it was theirs. Greed that isn't checked can make people do defamation and other harmful actions, mischief or attacks on people when the need to win at all costs takes over. Not only makes people not care moral norms, but it also leads to acts that are meant to hurt other people. They hurt more than just the person they're aimed at, but they also weaken the character and the honesty of those who do them. Seeing rivalry and competition as it's important to find possible sources of hate. In order to understand what these connections, by figuring out these, we can use feelings to help ourselves or others. Try to make the game into to work together, or at least learning how to fight in a good way. Thank you. Manner, keep in mind that someone else is there. Their success doesn't take away from yours. Everyone has a chance to shine. This frame of mind is a cure for the hate that comes from being blind. The effect of meeting social standards. 8th, rivalry, and the effect of social expectations. Expectations in society can sometimes cause people to grow bad emotions when they see that you don't follow the rules or standards that they hold dear. Picture living in a neighborhood where everyone is supposed to follow certain cultural ideals and traditions, but you picked a different way to go. You might be interested in a job, or start a friendship that does not fit the usual rules. For some people, you might surprise you, or even make you feel bad or anger, because it challenges the values and views they've held for a long time. Often, this kind of anger comes from someone who can't be seen, not you. Social expectations that put pressure on, and being afraid of the unknown. Your decisions are like a mirror that show their strict way of thinking was forcing them to face the conflicts inside their own beliefs. It's important to remember that this life is yours and you can make big or small steps in your own. The path to happiness for yourself. And happiness that you don't have to live by others' views. No matter what OB doesn't agree with being yourself and standing up for what you believe is important for your health. And you can only be happy if you accept who you are, and not following what other people expect. Can you find the freedom to live a full life? Meaningful life. Don't let the critics get to you, or what other people expect of you determines path. Accept who you are and have the guts to live a life that's truly yours. 9. The lack of appreciation. Not getting any attention. The feeling of being forgotten or not being seen is one of the deepest roots of anger and pessimism in people. We all want our relationships to work out, achievements and efforts that will be agreed with, but when those you forget about your efforts or not valuing, anger can slowly build up and finally become hate, especially when they are competing places like jobs and families, places or social groups, where the desire for design to be noticed is. Epicurus once said that when someone thinks what they've done is, if it's not recognized, it can easily turn into a seed of anger toward people who seem to get more. Pay attention in any way. It's important to know that being recognized is subjective and changes based on one person's expectations. Some people need to be reassured and value this more than others. This need us to talk to each other honestly and show appreciation at the right time to stop the growth of feelings that aren't necessary. Bad and to encourage better health and happiness being with other people in the journey of getting through these complicated feelings. Dynamics is important to make bounds with people who are caught up in their having their own problems and worries, those who bring bad things and upset your peace. Drawing lines is not a sign of weakness. It's a strong act of self-preservation, is often the cause of anger. Meant for you, has little to do with more to do with who you are, and the inner battles of a person. Whether it comes from a misreading of jealousy, value disagreements, reports about you fear, a lack of understanding, or competing with these bad feelings, shed more light on the person who harbors more about them than about you. Realize that, responsible for other people's bad feelings. You also don't have to make everyone happy. If you understand these things, you can get a fair view of keep connection strong and don't let being negative can hurt your self-worth or world. Instead, look at your good points. Building on skills and good health-ending relationships for yourself. I have a message for you. To keep going, realize that each of us are all different and have their own flaws, and different ways to keep reading to find out why someone might. If you don't like you, you are only shadows of the fights that person is making inside themselves, so keep going in the same direction. Being honest, being kind, and authenticity. Value people who are truly themselves, love and accept you for who you are, and by doing that, you'll make a better, happier place for I would help you and the people around you. Would love to hear about your story. Thrills, please click subscribe and turn on the bell and leave a message. Fill out the form below to share your story, all of your wins and even the problems you've get through if you don't know what to. Just write peace as a comment to show now that this session is over. Your getting involved helps this group grow. Ways to get wise and learn how to turn every problem into and if I have time I'll leave 2 more movies here so you can keep learning and working on your personal growth. Thanks for the trip and I'll see you in the next movie.